Well, I hope that all of you are enjoying your Labor Day week as we are away. We've recorded these in advance, so some of these stories may be a little bit behind it, so we're playing a little catch up on there, but make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that like if you enjoy the content on this channel. Thank you for tuning in to Man with the Show on Q2Cast TV. Let's tell you, the streaming wars has begun. There's a lot going on. And, one thing is you're going to be hearing a lot of rumors. You're going to be hearing a lot of news, details, shows. Some may be true. Some may be false. Because right now you have a lot, you have Apple TV. You have the Disney Plus channel. Those are going to be starting out sometime in December. Not December, November. Let me refresh myself there. You also have the Warner Brothers is going to be with their HBOMAX line. There's a couple other companies that are working on their own platforms. And then you see the increases in Netflix and Hulu and a couple of others. And you're seeing a lot of new programming that is being announced. A lot of it you got to take it as a grain of salt. Are they going to be working on it? Possibly. It's on there, and this is one of the main rumors out there. In fact, it's been on YouTube for a little bit, and we're just catching up to this. Basically, HBO Max to adapt an Arkham Asylum series, but without Batman. How do I feel about that? If they do this, one thing I'll tell you about me. The one thing I know, I always love the villains, and the reason is a lot of these stories, Batman, no matter what it is, it's the villain that makes a lot of these stories develop very well. And there have been some comics, and then you have the Suicide Squad movies, and the animated movies as well. Which revolves around the villains, and they're done decently to a point where, in the comic sense, they're done very well. You kind of expect Warner Brothers to start ramping up a lot of the DC stuff. I mean, they're the ones who hold the rights to the DC Comics, and to compete with Disney, because Disney is going to be putting out a lot of programming in the next year or so. As far as movies, which as they say, the critics are still out on that, or the party is still out on those, of how they're going to do. You've heard how I felt about it in a couple episodes back, but they want to do an Arkham Asylum series, a sort of an R-rated, just the villains alone. There's talk that they want to bring the Man-Bat in this and some others, and it doesn't really go into detail on what they want to do as far as that. One thing is that when you move away from Batman and stuff, like for a perfect example, you have the Pennyworth series, which is running right now on Epix. It's doing okay. I mean, see, I don't go by Rotten Tomatoes anymore, because of the way they've been. Metacritic it's still scoring it. Basically, it's not too many people have gone on the site to give it its thumbs up, thumbs down. The critics have been average to less than average. The series I've seen about an episode or two. It doesn't look like a Batman series at all. Obviously, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be Alfred the Butler in his youth. Because he was SAS agent back in the day. He was such a good agent, and basically, and there's supposed to be a couple. I didn't catch the scene yet where he meets up with Bruce Wayne's dad. But like I said, there's a lot I got to catch up to, and eventually, I will catch up to the entire Pennyworth series, because I think it's coming to an end very soon. But you're going to have with that, and you move over. To the video game version, which everyone loved the video game on the Arkham Asylum. For them to do something like that, it would be very, very interesting. You got so many people, your Harley Quinn, Joker, Zaz, Bane, Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow. I don't think they would use Harley Quinn and Joker much on there. I don't think they will do Ra's al Ghul, obviously. But would like to see Mr. Scarface, obviously Clayface, the Mad Hatter, a little bit more Killer Croc, Bane. Hopefully they don't do the Bane just like they did in the Batman, that really crazy Batman movie that they did with Schwarzenegger, which was just ridiculous, a ridiculous version of Bane. But it'll be interesting how they will produce this and how violent will it be. I mean, they're talking R-rated, so it's probably going to be down on dirty, bloody. If it's the day-by-day, if it's anything, it's probably the day-by-day things that are going on in the asylum itself. Maybe they'll get outside a couple of times, but who to say? So, comment below. Tell me, how would you feel like on this series? How would you like to see an Arkham Asylum minus the Batman? How would you feel about it? Tell me, if you would believe in this. Would you watch this? Would you not watch this? Would you be getting HBO Max because of this? So, like I said, most of these streaming sites, they're starting to pump out programming. They're starting to build programming up. They're starting to do a lot of production. So we're going to be hearing a lot of programming. Some of them will be successful. Some of them will be unsuccessful. Some of them will end up to be a dumpster fire. It's hard to say at this moment because, you're going to be spending all this money. And, and the thing about it is, the scary part of the whole situation with this is that, you got all these streaming sites and you got to pay for this and pay for that. And we'll discuss this on another edition. But from what I'm seeing lately, BitTorrent there's been an increase in usage over BitTorrent. And there's a couple of articles out that came out a while back that's saying that it's looking like that basically because cable is so expensive now these days. Now that you have the streaming sites, if you want a couple of these shows that are on Netflix, you got to pay for that. Then you got to pay for Disney on there. Then you got to pay for the HBO Max, and the numbers start piling up as far as pricing. So the alternative is just to download it off BitTorrent for free. And we'll look into this a little bit, but I think that's what's going to end up happening on there because it's going to be so many shows, and I keep refreshing myself. There's so many shows that are going to be made, and it's going to be hard to determine which ones are good or bad. I've always said stick with some of the free sites like Tubi TV, Pluto TV. Pluto TV just put on. Supposed to be putting on, I think by now it's going to be on because we're talking past tense when we upload this. There's supposed to be a James Bond channel. It's supposed to be starting some through the Labor Day weekend. It's 24 hours of James Bond, so that's going to be interesting. So don't forget, we're on Minds and Gab.com. I know this is a bit of a short one, but like I said, we're we just threw in a couple of quick videos discussing this, that, and the other thing. And we're doing like once a day. When we come back, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot because as soon as we did this one, we saw some things that were just starting to simmer, especially on some of the cases like the Manana case and stuff like that that's been simmering. It's probably by now, when you've seen this, it's probably majorly escalated by then. Because from what the news that we were getting at first, it's some explosive stuff that was coming out. But hey, like I said, by now it's probably old news. So until the next video, which depending on when this is uploaded, we'll see you then. And we'll be back on September 9th with the new season of Madman with the Show. So tune in. Thank you for watching Q2Cast TV and Madman with the Show.